Good afternoon, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Habian, and we are going to revisit one of the stories from this week called Sir Worm and Bird Girl. And it's all about a little worm who is walking along in nature and really wants to be somewhere other than where he is. He wants to get up into the sky. And so as we see, it says Sir Worm was the first worm up each day. He worked hard, but he was small. He could only see things on the dirt. He wanted to see the sky. First, Sir Worm said, "I will climb up high," but it did not work. Poor Sir Worm, he can't climb. Then Sir Worm said, "I will jump up." He did, but it did not work. Bird Girl was looking and said, "I can help with the third try." And along she came. "Great," said Sir Worm. Bird Girl got a firm grip on Sir Worm. She went up. Sir Worm could see the full sun and another bird. They went through a big white puff. And that looks like that white puff was a cloud. What a neat world. Bird Girl went back down to land. She placed Sir Worm on the dirt. Sir Worm thanked Bird Girl for helping. It was worth the trip. Bird Girl let out a chirp and went up high in the sky. Now, friends, we're going to do a first then, or first next then finally, with our story, Sir Worm and Bird Girl. So what I would like you to do is I'm going to push our story back and I'm going to pull out some paper. And for this, you're going to need just a regular piece of paper. And also you're going to need, I'm going to use a black Sharpie, but you can use a pencil, that's fine, and some crayons. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to first take our white piece of paper, just a regular white piece of paper, and I'm going to fold it two ways. One way across and the other way. So we have 4 sections. In Mrs. Habian's class, we are used to doing things like this, activities. And so we're pretty good at this kind of thing. So once you have your paper folded, I'm going to use a Sharpie so you can see it clearly. Let's go ahead and label each square. I'm going to do a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4. Okay. And now we're going to retell the story, including pictures. So, in the first page, or the first part of the story, it was that Sir Worm really wanted to see something else instead of just dirt. He wanted to see the sky. So I'm going to say first, comma, Sir Worm. By the way, his name is Sir Worm, so I'm giving a capital to the S and a capital to the W. Wanted to see the sky. Notice I'm leaving enough room for a picture when I'm done. I also added a period. I'm also going to underline the word first because that's part of our writing that we're practicing is our first, next, then finally. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to write the word next, and I'm going to give that a comma, and I think I will underline that too. Next, he tried to climb and jump. Sorry, friends, for my dogs barking. They hear someone outside. Next, he tried to climb and jump. I don't think a worm can climb and jump very well on his own. But it did not work. Okay, and again, if you have a Sharpie, feel free to use it. If not, just use pencil. So next, he tried to climb and jump. Oh, look at that. Oh, I hope everybody saw what Mrs. Habian just did. There you go. I fixed it. Sometimes teachers make little mistakes. That's why it's really important to go back and double check your writing. But that's okay, we fixed it easily. Next, he tried to climb and jump, but it did not work. Okay, also, and I'm going to also add a little comma right there because that's what we need to do on that sentence. Number 3 is the word then. So as we think of the story, then we know that in the story, Bird Girl came along and helped him. She helped him see the full sun and another bird and a cloud by grasping him with her little bird feet and claws, and she took him for a little ride, didn't she? So I'm going to say then Bird Girl, we know her name is actually Bird Girl, so we're going to put a capital for B and a capital for G, helped him see the sun up close, the full sun, comma, another bird was in the sky, and a cloud. Actually, they flew through the cloud, didn't they? And finally, or the other word you could use is last, but in my class in first grade, we usually use the word finally. So finally, underline comma, and by the way, I'm going to go back. I forgot to underline my then. Finally, Bird Girl brought him back to Earth, didn't she? And he had a great trip. Finally, Bird Girl placed Sir Worm on the dirt. I think he had a great trip. So he had a great trip. And I'm going to give that an exclamation mark because I think he was pretty excited about that. Feel free, friends, to pause or stop the video if you need to catch up. You can kind of do that. Mom or Dad can show you how to do that. But now what we do is we're going to draw a little picture. And I'm going to do the first picture with you. And then I'm going to have you go back through the story and go back into the story and do your pictures for the other 3 parts of our paper. So I'm going to start with first, Sir Worm wanted to see the sky. Well, I know that he was kind of a, he was kind of a purplish worm. And so what I want to do first is I want to kind of draw the grass where we know he was. And it was kind of dirt and grass together. So maybe I'll do my backgrounds first, my grass, my details. Okay, and there was kind of a little bump or a hump of dirt, we know that, throughout the story. So I think I'll do that first. Usually I do my characters first, but this time we're going to change it a little bit. We're going to do just some of the detail in the background first. There's also a little tree when you look back at the story here. And friends, there's a beautiful sky as well. Sky is kind of a greenish blue, so I'm going to just slightly shade, and since I did it with a Sharpie or a marker, It'll be fine if I just shade over the top of it. With a pencil, it might not be as clear. Okay, so let me draw my surworm. And my surworm, I'm going to use my Sharpie first, but I'm going to start, and he's just kind of easy. It's kind of like a snake, friends. I just kind of swirl around. Actually, he does kind of look like a snake. And there's his little worm body. I'm going to draw the little lines that are on him. I know it's a him because, or a he, because we're calling him Surworm. And he's got his little mouth and his eyes kind of looking up to the sky. And just like that. And I'm going to color him his kind of light purple that our story has him in a light purple. And he's looking up to see his friend, Bird Girl. She's kind of a pinkish red. So let's add our Bird Girl. She's right about here. And I'm just going to kind of slowly do just kind of the shape of her while she's in flight. Here's her little beak. And here's her eye kind of looking down at him. And she's got her wings. And she is, looks like moving along, and she just happens to see her friend down below. So her legs are kind of tucked in at this point, so that's all right. She's in her flying mode. So we're gonna color her in with the colors that we see on her right now. She's kind of a reddish pink with a lighter kind of underbelly area. So that is the first part, part one. First, Surworm wanted to see the sky. Your job is to double check that you have the sentence, and then I want you to draw a picture for next. He tried to climb and jump, but it did not work. Then Bird Girl helped him see the sun, another bird, and a cloud. And lastly, finally, Bird Girl placed Surworm on the dirt. He had a great trip. So that is our lesson for today. Take your time, add as much detail as you can, and save it for your Friday share on your video Flipgrid with your teacher if you'd like, or just save it and Mom and Dad know what to do with it. They will be holding on to your work. Great, friends. Have a great day. Bye-bye.